Today I want to go over with you how to keep your acoustic guitar humidified on the cheap for under $3. There's two different methods. One is soundhole humidification. The other one is case humidification, and I'll go through both. So the first thing you should want is a hygrometer, and you don't necessarily need one, but it's better to have one so that you can check on the humidity and temperature in your room constantly and see if you're within the range where you do need to keep your guitar humidified versus if you don't. So basically, in my apartment in New York City right now, in just about New Year's, as you can see, it's 77.5 degrees Fahrenheit in here. The heat is on, and we have a 34% humidity. Now, this is a hygrometer that I put together using a home hygrometer, but there's little ones you can buy that are $10 that just sit on your desk or on a table anywhere, and we'll give it to you. You don't need something this elaborate, but I just put it together for my own use. So 34 degrees is outside of the range that you want your acoustic to be. You want the room to be between 45 and 55% humidity. So 34% is too low. Your acoustics will dry out. Whether they're solid wood or not does not matter. They'll dry out and you'll get either cracking or loose bracing or something along those lines. So there are a bunch of options that you can do. There's a lot of things you can buy that generally cost between $15 to $25 that are meant to stick in your sound hole to keep your acoustic humidified, but you don't need that. There's a more simple way to do it. All you need is a little plastic zip tie bag, a hole puncher, which you should have at home, a paper clip, and you go out and buy yourself some. This was $1.49. It comes with 6 cellulose sponges. So what you'll need to do for the sound hole method, first is you'll fold this up just like that from the bottom up. You fold it over a few times, punch a few holes in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could just do 5 or 6 across, and that will give you enough to open up the whole bag. And you'll want to punch one in the corner up here so that you can hang the bag inside the sound hole. And when that's done, you get something like this with a little hole right here. And what you want to do is take your sponge, okay, that's a little weird. You pay $1.49. You don't get much quality, but we can use a different sponge from the bag. You take your sponge, you wet it in water, and you wring it out completely. You don't want a wet sponge, you want a damp sponge. So very lightly damp. You'll take your bag and you'll put your sponge in once it's damp. And when you want to wring it out, make sure that no drops of water come out. Then you'll take your paper clip through the little hole you have. You just hang it just like that. Now you take your acoustic, stick the bag right in there, and hang your paper clip off the low E. And there you go. You have your own humidifier. It's best to leave the acoustic like this so that the bag is not touching any part of the inside of the guitar, because you don't want any water getting in there. But if you wrung it out enough, that shouldn't be a problem. And when you're ready to play, you just pop it out. And you can check every day, depending on how frequently you need to re-wet the sponge. We'll tell you about how often you need to keep your guitar humidified. But definitely, if you're running like me at 33% humidity in this room, it might get down to 25% humidity. That is no good. You need to keep this humidified at least. Doesn't have to be every day. You don't want to over humidify it, but you want to make sure that the guitar itself is within that range, 45 to 55%. Otherwise, the wood will dry out. You'll get cracking, loose bracing, the neck will warp. There's so many problems that can happen just because you have that going on. Now, one other way to keep the guitar humidified without having to stick anything in the sound hole is I paid $1.49 for this. They're soap dish trays, and they have little holes in them, as most soap dish trays do. And what you can do is cut up one of these cellulose sponges, dampen it, get it wet, wring the water out, put the cover on here, and then what you want to do with your case, and it doesn't matter if you have a hard case or case like this, which is a thicker padded gig bag. What you want to do is take two of these. Now keep them damp most of the time, and you put one right up there over where the headstock would go. There's usually a lot of space under the headstock, and you put one down here somewhere, wherever you can find space, and that should keep your acoustic case humidified. And you want to keep checking that every couple of days to make sure that it's a little bit damp, and that will help you create your own humicase. Now, all these methods that I show you cost under $3, so there's no reason for you to go out and spend $20 or $30 on an acoustic humidifier. All you're really doing is making sure that the inside of the guitar is within the right range of moisture in the wood. And most of the products you'll buy won't even tell you if you're within that 45 to 55% range. The only products I've seen that will tell you if the inside of the guitar is humid enough usually cost around $30 to $40 just for the little hygrometer. And you can make one like this yourself, like I did. Stick it in the sound hole. Whoops. I'll put that back together real quick. But yeah, you can make one like this. Have your acoustic sitting down. Stick it between the strings into the guitar, and then see what kind of temperature reading you get after a while. So you leave it in there for a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll get the reading of the temperature and the humidity level within the guitar. So that's something that you can do. Or you can buy one of those little hygrometers, throw it in there, hang it in there with a paper clip or something, and then you'll be able to get the reading inside the guitar too. But that's something you want to do for proper acoustic maintenance. So for under $3, there's all different methods you can use. This method will cost you less than $1. 6 sponges for $1.49. One of these plastic bags don't even cost. They cost a penny or two at most. And one little paper clip. You stick it in there, you get it moist, and the guitar stays humidified. There's no reason to drive yourself crazy. And the sound hole humidifiers that you would buy are just the same thing as this. They're a little sponge inside a piece of plastic that has holes in it. So why would you spend 10 or 20 bucks on something like that when you can have this for a fraction of the cost for under $1? And these you can travel with, you could do anything with. It's so much better, it's so much easier, and if you lose it or if something happens to it, you can make another one in a matter of a minute. This is a good method too. These are $1.49 for 3. You stick them in your case, and why pay over $100 for a humicase? Or I think they cost $150 to $200 for a little case that basically has some sponges in it and some solution that keeps the sponges moist, that will keep the inside of the guitar moist. Use this method. It's basically the same thing. There's really no difference. All you're doing is keeping the inside of the case a little bit humid. Now, you might have to, with a gig bag like this, check more frequently than you would a hard case. The air might come out more than it would in a hard case, but once it's zipped up, the air doesn't escape that much, like going in and out of the case. There's really not a big difference between a hard shell case and a good quality gig bag when it comes to that. So those are the methods that you can do. I hope you find this useful. There are other methods like using a plastic cup, but this is really the easiest and simplest method that you can use. You may need to cut up the sponge to fit in the bag depending on what size it is, because these sponges tend to expand when they get damp. But this one should fit perfectly. The one that I bought, you can always get a bag that fits the right size, and you just make some holes in it like you see, and that's it. So I hope you find this video useful. Subscribe to my channel. Have a lot of guitar videos and reviews, and thanks for watching. What you should want is a hygrometer, and you don't necessarily need one, but it's better to have one so that you can check on the humidity and temperature in your room constantly and see if you're within the range where you do need to keep your guitar humidified versus if you don't. So basically, ones you can buy that are $10 that just sit on your desk or on a table anywhere, and we'll give it to you. You don't need something this elaborate, but I just put it together for my own use. So 34 degrees is outside of the range that you want your acoustic to be. You want the room to be between 45 and 55% humidity. So 34% is too low. Your acoustics will dry out. Whether they're solid wood or not does not matter. They'll dry out and you'll get either cracking or loose bracing or something along those lines. So there are a bunch of options that you can. In my apartment in New York City right now, in just about New Year's, as you can see, it's 77.5 degrees Fahrenheit in here. The heat is on, and we have a 34% humidity. Now, this is a hygrometer that I put together using a home hygrometer, but there's little. Today I want to go over with you how to keep your acoustic guitar humidified on the cheap for under $3. There's two different methods. One is soundhole humidification. The other one is case humidification, and I'll go through both. So the first thing you should